So I just asked you guys to put in chat what year you think GTA 6 is coming out. And I mean, it's pretty clear cut. You guys are flooding the chats. Oh God, with a lot, all of your votes for what you expect to see in terms of the release date. I think, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of 25s, a lot of 26s. Do a poll. I mean, we could do that real quick. That might make sense. I think at this point, what's weirding people out is that we've still heard nothing. After all this time, they insist at their earnings calls, at their investor conferences, at all that stuff, they're insisting that they're still looking at 2025, that they're still on track, they're still happy with it, they're confident they can hit that point. That's what they are saying. Whether or not that's true, I think, of course, will remain to be seen, but I don't think that they would just say that if they were secretly like, yeah, we're going to have to delay it. We're going to have to delay it. Because the longer they wait, I think the bigger of a deal it will be. Current speculation and rumors are saying like April, probably we see something early April. We probably see some trailer. A lot of people think that they might actually release the trailer on like April 1st, which would be really freaking funny if that's what it ends up being. But I mean, a good chunk of you, the majority, think it's going to be pushed to 2026. And this article on Insider Gaming is actually kind of interesting because it actually mentions how the entire industry is kind of relying on GTA 6 for some much needed growth in the industry right now, because the games industry, surprisingly enough, has kind of plateaued the last year and a half, 2 years. It's been an industry that's just skyrocketed in terms of growth for a long time, but for the first time in a while, spending has kind of stagnated. Players are not throwing money at things they would have previously thrown money at. They're being much more cautious because they've been burned by a number of really high profile flops. And GTA 6 is expected to bring in a lot of new players to the current generation. They're going to buy PlayStation 5s, PlayStation 5 Pros, Xbox Series X's. They're going to buy new gaming hardware. That's going to have an impact on gaming peripherals, extra controllers, monitors, TVs, that type of thing. People will be buying and upgrading their whole setups for it. And this is something that's like well known in the industry, is that there's going to be a ton of money flowing that wasn't previously flowing. And as you can see now, Grand Theft Auto 6 has a firm hold on the 2026 release schedule. Despite not having a confirmed launch date, it's still assumed it'll drop in October 2025, and no publisher or developer in the world wants to compete with it. With that being said, it's believed that many companies are waiting with bated breath for a confirmed date, at which point they'll mark their calendars. And this is something that, I mean, we know there's a number of big high-profile games that have no release date, even though they should be nearing completion, and nobody knows anything about them. Nobody's heard anything from them, whether even within Take-Two's umbrella, like BioShock. There's a new BioShock game that should be getting there, getting close. And Ken Levine's game Judas. They did a whole like big reveal last year, almost exactly a year ago. I think it was early April, where they revealed Judas gameplay. They let people try it, and then they just went silent and haven't said anything since. So that potentially gets a release date closer to, when they reveal the GTA 6 one, because of course they can coordinate being under the Take-Two umbrella. So there's just a lot of games that are supposed to be coming soon and are just now being very, very hush-hush. Nobody wants to pin down exactly when. In a recent interview at GDC, a noted senior consultant at Newzoo made a damning observation. He suggested that a GTA 6 delay could be so impactful that the knock-on effect would write off some companies. He's saying that if GTA 6 gets delayed, it could lead to other companies outside of Take-Two, other companies going under because they can't survive that long. There's a powerful assertion. In a chat with PC Gamer at GDC in San Francisco, Newzoo's Ben Foster made a brutally honest claim about the potential impact of a GTA 6 delay. If you're a game company who's holding its breath waiting for GTA 6 to get out, and then it gets delayed by 3, 4, 5, 6 months, what do? You either have to be able to launch into that big black hole that's been left open now, or you have to extend your run rate by an additional 6 months. I'm assuming some companies are going to tank as a result of that, right? Not an insane suggestion, because delays can cost millions upon millions of dollars.
MR Steel Yo Kill _54 donated $10 through Super Chat.
Hell yeah.
If there was a Horizon Zero Dawn 3, it would release near GTA 6.
You know what game they're working on? Horizon Online. You know when it's expected to release? Late this year, early next year. Never, ever doubt the ability of Gorilla to place their game next to an even bigger game. Okay. Whenever they announce the release date for the Horizon multiplayer game, I'm betting all of my net worth on GTA 6 releasing within like a week and a half of that. Yeah. Because they just have a talent for it. The first game, release right next to Breath of the Wild. What could possibly go wrong? Second game, okay, it's our time. We got plenty of space. Right next to Elden Ring. It's masterful. It really is masterful. It's got to be intentional at this point, right? That like it's got to be, because they always, like 2 times in a row, they've done it, and it's just very interesting to me. It's fascinating, but yeah. Charge, thank you for the 20 months. Hey, Luke, I think you're 100% right about your take on the real world impact of GTA 6 release. I have a week of PTO banked just for that release week. Yeah, dude. A lot of people will. I've told you guys 1,000 times, I think you will see a quantifiable drop in global productivity, specifically with young men and male gamers. I think you'll see people calling out of work in record numbers. I think you'll see people, like, the energy bills across the country, across the globe, will skyrocket because everybody's turning on their gaming consoles and sucking power through the wall. I think you're going to see like internet service providers having trouble managing with the amount of download that will happen when people are preloading the game. It's going to be a whole thing. It's going to be a thing. Okay. And if you don't think it will be a thing, I think you don't understand how big GTA 6 will be. Okay. It's huge. Huge. He continues on though. Everything we know about GTA 6 suggests it'll still be releasing in just a few months, most likely in October. Foster's comments are accurate given how we've already seen some developers adjust their expectations based on the impending release of GTA 6. If you're a publisher waiting to give the green light and GTA 6 is delayed, you've then got to manage that accordingly and potentially push back your schedule too, when companies around you might be relying on launching and bringing in some money to make up for development costs. Foster was also transparent about GTA 6 not being some magical formula that'll revitalize the entire industry overnight. He did suggest it'll be putting eyes back on the games market from investors, but it won't be a universally uplifting thing. I mean, I think once it comes, there will be a lot of eyes on how much growth it drives, how many conversions it drives. I think there will be a lot of attention put on it, certainly. But I think it's just going to be interesting to see the broader impact, because a lot of that's already baked in and factored into these valuation considerations. But that's why, there's certain types of games I think that could go in the same launch period as GTA 6 and be okay. I think like remasters, remakes, if you're interested in like The Last of Us Part 2 on PC, I know that launches in a week or two on like in April, but I think a game like that, launch it next to GTA 6. I don't think it matters that much, because if you wanted to play GTA, or if you want to play Last of Us Part 2 on PC, you're going to buy it anyways. Same with like remakes. I think Black Flag remake, if it launched next to GTA 6, I think it's fine. If it launched like a week or two after, I think that's fine, because it's a remake of an old nostalgic thing. The people who are interested in it will be interested regardless of what's around it. I think the ones that are most vulnerable to GTA 6 are like other big AAA releases. Like if you are a Horizon 3, like you suggested earlier, I don't think that should launch next to this. I think if you're a Fable, you don't want to launch next to this. I don't know. Some live service games maybe, but you definitely don't want to be launching next to GTA Online. So I think that's a bad idea. If you're like a Fair Games, I don't think you want to be launching next to this. So I think there's certain types of games that would be okay regardless. Like there's rumors that Nintendo launches a new Mario this fall/winter. That means that you could have a new Mario, 3D Mario, launching within like a few weeks of GTA 6. Like I think that's probably fine, because I think the overlap between like Switch players, hardcore Switch players, and GTA 6 players, probably not massive. So I think that would be fine. But I mean, that's what it would take. Like either a more niche game, a remake, remaster of something old and nostalgic, or it's got to be like totally different platform, totally separate. Otherwise, I don't think anybody wants to be near it, because I guess there's not going to be player like SteamDB numbers. But like Red Dead 2, it's a long game. It takes players a while to get through. And I would expect that GTA 5 or GTA 6 is also going to be massive. So it's going to maybe take the average player a week or two to get through. Maybe more. And So I think you probably don't want to be releasing a week before or probably 2 weeks after, which pretty much creates a 3-week bubble where nobody's going to want to be anywhere close to it. And that's what they're bringing up here is if it's delayed, there's now just a void in a very in-demand period in the industry. And, you know, it could be a ripe spot for people to swoop in and launch if they have the game ready. Emphasis on ready. Hopefully they don't rush it. It will not under-deliver in terms of profits for sure, but if the game itself is mid, half the player base will still shill for it. I don't know. I think the one thing that the gaming community loves even more than a really good game is a really, really bad game. And if there's anything for people to complain about, they'll find it. But Rockstar is the one company that is able consistently to somehow live up to the hype and exceed it. People thought there was no way Red Dead 2 ends up living up to the hype and expectations for it. And it ended up doing it. Like, it just ended up being phenomenal. So I think there's a very strong likelihood they managed to live up to it this time. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. We don't know until we get the game. And as of right now, we don't know when we get the game. $2 billion for a mid game could be a bubble buster. Well, it doesn't matter, Molly, if it's mid or not. It matters if it sells mid. And I think for it to come out, I think it will review well because Rockstar just knows what they're doing. So let's say it reviews really well. It's in like that 90s tier. It's going to sell gangbusters. You can see the review headlines now. A game worth waiting for. They've been cooking. You know, we can see the titles already of the reviews. And I think people will buy it in droves. It will sell millions upon millions, tens of millions of copies within like the first week. It's going to be ridiculous. So I think either way, they're going to be fine. Rockstar sleeping on PC players with GTA releasing on consoles first. I think they just know they can double dip. I don't think they're sleeping on it. I think they just know that they can wait 6 months, get GTA Online out, establish that, release on PC with all sorts of new bells and whistles, and get a lot of PC players who also bought it on console to buy it again. So I if anything, I don't think they're sleeping on it. I think they're well aware of it. They just know if they time it right, they can get you to buy 2 copies. and you're going to thank them for it. Is the $100 price tag confirmed or not? Nope, not yet. They haven't said anything about it. I still insist, I think the most likely thing they do is that they price it at 70 or maybe 80, but they're going to do like a week of early access for $100 for the $120 version, deluxe, whatever, the outlaw, the bandit, whatever edition, and lots of people will buy it. That's what I think they do. I know some people are like, no, they're going to price it 100 flat and then also early access for 150. That would be surprising to me. That would be like, oh, you're feeling real greedy. Okay. That would surprise me. But I think after AC Shadows leaking, like the physical copies leaking early, I think Take-Two is like, okay, yeah, we're not going to risk that. Yeah. So we're going to do digital only for the first week or 2 weeks, whatever. I think there's potential that the physical copies, they do the Fallout 76 thing. You remember the Fallout 76 stuff? This was it. Inside the physical case was a piece of cardboard that said, to redeem your game code, log into Bethesda.net, redeem code. And then the code was on this little pamphlet. So I think later, like the PS4 version had the physical copy. They did this like after the fact, but like the collector's edition did this. I'm not sure which ones they did it with and how, but I think there's a good chance that they do something like this for GTA 6, where it's like, yeah, you can buy a physical copy, but it's a digital code because we don't want you playing the game early or hacking into it. Anyway, it's not confirmed yet, but I do think they're going to push the boundary. I think they're going to do something to get extra cash out of people. I just don't know to what degree, because if they raise the base price to 80 or to 100 and do early access, I think that's very possible, but I think that would be like, oh, they really think they have something like crazy special here. Like they think they have the game of the generation if they're willing to push that hard, because that's going to upset a lot of people. That's a lot. If they price it at 70 and then have early access at $120 version, whatever, then I'm like, okay, that's kind of what I expect them to do, because then they can still say, well, no, we didn't raise prices. It's just we offered earlier access. Take-Two will do it. I think they can get away with it. As for whether they think that turns off or prices out too many people, I don't know. Because I do think there are people that cannot afford $100 version of a game. I think there are people that just can't do that. But 70, I think some people could stretch to get there. And I think for them, if they're willing to set the base price at 100, they're pricing some people out, and they might not want to do that. So that might that's why I think they price it at 70 and just do early access for a lot. But you better believe they're doing all sorts of calculations, projections, international comparison. Like, they're doing crazy amounts of stuff to see what they can get away with. And whatever they think they can get away with, they will do. He took my thing.